Welcome back to another episode of Inside Access Control, sponsored by SIA. Very excited today to have Ron Huff from SafePass. Hi, Ron. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, Lee. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you making the time. Before we jump into it, why don't you introduce yourself and the company, give a little bit of background to get to know you a bit.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Lee. I'd love to. Yeah, so as you mentioned, my name is Ron Huff. I'm the founder and CEO of SafePass, and we are a badging system with an initial focus on the visitor management space. And so we're really excited. My career primarily has been in oil and gas with very large corporations, and so I've traveled all over the world and been at secure facilities as a visitor, and then of course being an employee at a number of very secure locations, both corporate offices as well as production facilities, onshore, offshore, international buildings. And so that experience really gave me a desire to improve the visitor process, and then also transition into employee badging process as well. And so that's how SafePass kind of started, was based on those experiences, and then seeing an opportunity for the badging space to improve, kind of move into the 21st century with an EBadge, if you will, that provides a number of smart technology type of benefits to the wearers, and also the facility managers and customers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you talk about EBadge. So why don't we talk a little bit about the technology that's in it, and then we'll talk about some of the use cases around it. Because to start, I'll kick it off with, and I've talked about this, but so it's a classic example I see online all the time about a lot of people that come into the industry that are maybe not that familiar with it, or I would even say some people that are in it but believe that there's, the badge should go away. But I'm a believer, and I know you are. From your company around this idea that actually the badge isn't going to go away, because in high security especially, but even in call it mid, the ability to actually know if a person should be on the property or not by utilizing some sort of something. And even if it goes mobile, they're not going to wear their phone around their neck. So this idea of how the badge will be there, it's just like you said, I think rethinking what the badge is and what it does is definitely a key to what systems are going to look like moving forward. So when you see that as someone who works into it and has reimagined what the badge is, can you talk about some of the key specs of what's inside of yours and maybe the practical side of the security, but then what does it unlock that allows you to do even more?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And you're absolutely right. The typical badge, whether it's a paper badge on your shirt or a plastic badge that you hand to a visitor or employee, I agree with you. That is definitely going away. But the one thing that's not going away, and this is just based on my experience with secure facilities and large organizations, there's a very clear need, both in the past but also in the future, of being able to see that photograph of the individual on a company-sponsored type of device. And so that's what the SafePass badge is. And so it's an electronic badge. It uses EPaper technology, which is a technology that can be reused over and over and over again, 100,000 screen refreshes. And then also included in the badge is a Wi-Fi chip and a Bluetooth chip, and then associated electronics and other components to provide real-time location tracking. And so we've taken that paper badge, which is going away, and we've leveraged the original benefits of having that photograph of the person that's at the facility, and we've made the EBadge not only reusable, but also offering a host of additional options that can benefit the customers. And so, many things come out of it, but real-time location tracking is one of the key pieces to it. And then also now with the COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 response, utilizing the Bluetooth chip inside our badge, we can easily employ contact tracing so that people coming back from the shutdowns will have a much more secure feeling of safety as they return to work. And then also too, with people wearing masks, having a photograph placed on a badge that they wear will also allow people simply to identify them, behind the mask. And that's just a small example of how the world is changing so quickly, and with the amount of information that we have, being able to respond to something like COVID-19 as quickly as we have, if you look back at other similar events in the past, in the distant past, they weren't able to respond to them as quickly. But it's not just about the response at this point in time. It's also being able to proactively engage opportunities that can further prevent in the future something from happening to the scale that it's happened this time. And so that's where the contact tracing comes in. All of that data that we're able to collect with the Smart Badge technology is really useful, not only now with the use cases present, but also moving into the future, and the use cases will just continue to come to us like they have been for the last several years. So it's a very exciting opportunity to see an industry that's kind of starting to shift away from the paper, non-reusable elements of the badge and moving towards all of the key things that the world wants now and into the future, be it reusability, wearable technology, real-time location tracking, all of those things that are super important in the 21st century world that we're entering into.
Let me ask you, I was just curious because something that did stand out to me was you look at the EPaper that you use, or the e-ink, I guess, and it reminded me of the Kindle in a lot of ways. And so what drove that selection? Was it the flexibility, cost? Like I was just curious because it did stand out, which I thought was pretty neat, but what is the driving factor behind utilizing that over some other display?
Yeah, that's a great question. No, we've looked at all the different display technologies that you can possibly, think about, whether it be LED, LCD, transflective, et cetera. And so the one key element about EPaper that makes it special is that it doesn't require a battery or any sort of power source to maintain the image that's on it. So it takes an ultra low power consumption to change the image, but then it takes absolutely zero power consumption to maintain that image. And so because of that, we were then able to save that battery consumption for the Wi-Fi chip, for the Bluetooth chip, and the other smart electronics that are inside the badge. So the primary driver was the power consumption of the display.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Probably a lot of the same reasons why they did it. Now, when you look at your go-to-market strategy, how do you all go to market now? Is it through a dealer channel network? Is it a distributor? Do you go direct? What's the model?
Yeah, so we're very early in our overall business life, and so the first thing that we're doing is we're supporting our direct sale customers, and that provides us the opportunity for primarily two things. One, it gets us to have a solid base of customers and those testimonials, have those direct relationships, gain that feedback from those customers, and be able to really incorporate that feedback into our product. And then the other piece of the direct sale is the element of being able to build our operations at the same time to be able to support the business. And then, of course, along with that comes the fundraising elements of starting a business and all the other, softer sides of the business outside of the product itself. That is super important to do at just the right time and at just the right scope and scale. And so even starting a business, in addition to the product development, it's an iterative process as well. So we're focusing on direct sales first. We've got our key customers, and then after that, we'll be looking at the channel route. It's a very important piece of the overall puzzle with regards especially to security, but also with smart buildings and other integrated technologies. You really want to have the support of that channel program. And then the other piece of it too is, of course, already existing visitor management systems. And so we want to have a very good relationship with already existing visitor management systems, so we can integrate our badging technology into those systems and further expand the growth and the use case, and most importantly, expand the safety that our product provides to individuals in the world.
Yeah, it makes sense, and that's a good practical approach to growing the business. So I'm guessing the badge itself too is a credential, correct?
That's right.
And so it really can work. It's with any of the access control systems. So if you have this in combination, like your badging, your visitor management, it can be in combination with the access control system. You would just need to put the information into both systems, correct?
That's right, exactly. So there's a space inside the badge where we can put a RFID tag that talks to whatever the access control system is that's in place at the facility.
No, that makes a lot of sense. As a business, especially at the stage that you're at, is there anything you're looking for, or everyone wants more customers than that, of course. But as you look at your business now, within the next, say, 6 months to a year, I always like to ask the question: what would you be looking for right now?
Well, we see the potential with the breadth of the market that we can capture, and the way that we can also help grow the access control industry into parts of the world that don't have the access control that really is required in some of these different areas. And so, in order to fuel that growth, we're really looking for fundraising. And so, investor groups, angel networks, VCs, home offices, all those groups that are typically involved with early stage companies that can really drive innovation in the world. So it's not just myself starting the business and our technical guys and our marketing and all those folks. It's also our investment partners and our investment team. That's a critical piece to the overall growth strategy. And so, at the beginning, it's obviously kind of slow because you have to really crawl before you can walk, and then therefore run. But building the overall momentum takes a lot of time and energy, but it also takes money. And so our number one goal right now is closing out a couple of our rounds of financing so that we can propel the business forward into our scalable and sustainable growth model.
Absolutely. Well, but if you're looking, you've got a great product. You can definitely see the need within the marketplace. So I'm sure getting out there, and as somebody who's worked at a place where we want to raise money, I know it's not the most fun thing in the world to go do, but it's definitely needed. So, well, wonderful. So if people want to find out more information, where's the best place to go?
Yeah, there's safepassglobal.com, or we have a LinkedIn page, SafePass Inc. And then of course my name's Ron Huff. You can do a search for me on LinkedIn, and I'll likely come up. But yeah, either our website or the LinkedIn page. That's kind of where we focus our outward facing digital marketing at the moment.
Yeah, and that's how we found each other. So definitely you're active there. So Ron, well, I really appreciate you taking the time. I do think it's one of those products that there hasn't been a ton of innovation around, but you have actually done that. So people should definitely take a look at the badge that you've created as a more value add beyond just the locking and unlocking. It really does take a greater look at adding value around that, as well as I will give you some credit on the industrial design of it is actually really nice too. So it's that the ability, it's interesting. Just looking at it, finds it very interesting. Just the image in the way that the e-ink works. It's a very attractive product. So attractive, works well, has many arms and ability to grow from there. So I think you're in a good spot. So thanks for taking the time. It's been great getting to know you, and I look forward to seeing all the success. So thank you.
Yeah, likewise, Lee. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.